Still remember like it was yesterday. Downtown Toronto, I was suited up in three-piece suit, looking fresh as fuck. A nice three-piece suit, man. If any of you guys ever have a chance to get a three-piece suit tailored to the T, looking lean and strong, fuck. Combine all those things. Just imagine yourself just like dressed to the nines. Everywhere you walk, everyone's just like, holy shit. But there was a point in my life where I was rocking that three-piece suit. I was selling photocopiers, believe it or not. And it was a fun job, great people. One of the most boring sales I ever did, but it actually taught me a lot about selling something you really fucking hate. But during that time, my habits were not aligned with my true self, the strongest self of me. I was more of a corporate junkie. Smoking a shit ton of pot, drinking here and there, and I wasn't really tapped into the daily process of training. I used to smoke weed and go to the gym. I used to think that was a good idea with weight training. It was one of the biggest fucking mistakes I ever did. Biggest fucking mistakes. And then I just remember, I remember like it was fucking yesterday. I was going up the TD Towers downtown Toronto. Fancy ass elevators. Fucking wooden interior golden mirrors and all that shit. Right? Gold handlebars, mirrors everywhere. There's a guy to my right at a 40-degree angle to my front. In front of me. He had his head down, kind of like a hunchback posture, wearing roughly the same colored suit as me, so that's what caught my attention. He had a fake tan on, and he was beginning to bold really hard. And he looked weathered. He looked like he got beat up. But he looked like he made a lot of fucking money. He probably looked like he made $500,000 a year. And at that point, I told myself, shit, Sam. This guy's working one of the nicest parts of downtown Toronto. Nicest parts of downtown Toronto. On point. This is as high as it gets. One of the biggest cities in the world. And he looks like shit. This is what my parents were telling me to go after. A job with a fancy title. A nice suit. Give it up. Everyone told me growing up, don't train. Who gives a fuck about the gym? Why do you do that? You're addicted. And you look up the corporate ladder. They look like that. They gave up on life. And I just told myself, fuck, man. This is everything what I learned in school not to be. He literally looked like a chair melt. He looked like he melted away in a chair. And I think that thought process, when I just connected with him, like from an emotional standpoint, was me. I was that person in that time and moment, because I reflected and it just taught me. I'm just like, fuck, that is me. But he's just like years ahead of me. And that's the problem with the majority of the world. The majority of the world think it's an okay behavior. It's not. It's not okay to look like a tub of shit. It's not. It's not okay to have tits as a man. It's not okay to look down and not be able to see your penis. These are conversations I've had with so many people walking to gyms. I used to work in many gyms before in the past. When people walk in, that's what they told me. That's as a man, that's what people told me as one of their biggest pains. Older men, that and not for their penis not to work. Very common, because they're stressed, and it's a mind fuck, because like most people think they lose their libido at 30 and they're just aging. No, you just have a lot of fucking stress, and because you have a lot of fucking stress, your libido's shot. You're always in that fight or flight state of mind. When you don't love yourself, you're not going to be able to. I still remember like it was also yesterday again. When I was insecure with how I felt, my libido was shot. I did not want to be around anyone, sleep with anyone. I was uncomfortable with my own skin. It wasn't in my mind. There are times also when I was super committed to my training, and I actually put girls aside, because girls are a distraction at times. No offense, because it's like candy. You have one, you gotta have more. Anyways, point. I think as human beings, we just gotta go back to our simple ways. When we sit behind a car all day long in traffic and go to a desk job, and we're sitting there all day long, and some of those jobs are pretty stressful. A lot of quotas you gotta hit. And what are you doing to relieve your stress? More alcohol, more booze, more weed? listen, I'm not against any substance. They're here for a reason. But if you're using that to manage your stress and the next day you feel regret and just like a low feeling 24/7, there's a reason why that low feeling is there. It's because there's something internally telling us we're going the wrong fucking direction. And eventually it gets to a point where when you fast forward down the road, when you actually want to do something about it, it becomes super fucking hard because the self-belief is gone. And that's the most important thing, because we've wired a habitual mindset to the point where it's changed the psychology and the way we see the world. And that's where it's dangerous, because physically and mentally, a guy who's 50 can get shredded, no problem. My dad can. Physically, mentally can. Emotionally, no. I love them to death. I love my mom to death too. They have every possibility in 3 months to be crying in terms of a transformation. But the excuses, when they're certain with their way of thought, they believe something, you're fucked. Because when you believe something that's not true, I mean, it's a rabbit hole at that point. And that's what my biggest fear is with my parents and people around me, our friends. But I've also learned to just not focus on that. I just focus on building myself up so much that my way of life is just undeniable. You can't deny that it's the right path. And that's a good position to be in, because every human being wants to be happy, strong, and healthy from an emotional standpoint. If we're not happy, we're gonna feel weak, and we're gonna feel less healthy. We're gonna feel sick. If we're not strong, it's gonna affect our happiness. We're gonna be more depressed, and it's gonna affect our health. If we're not healthy, we're gonna feel weaker, and we're gonna feel less happy. They're connected. All those three emotions run us human beings. And what are we doing to make us stronger as human beings? What are you doing? Don't think you're strong just because you're in comfort zone. What are you doing to struggle every fucking day? Are you actually tapped into a higher energy state on those three fronts? Because if you're doing something to make yourself happy, strong, and healthy from an emotional standpoint every fucking day, shit, it's a different fucking feeling. And if you're not doing anything that's gonna make you stronger, you got no fucking idea what level there is to you. It's not just a superficial thing. That's why most of you guys quit. There's an internal aspect which is huge. It's the internal peace that comes with it. It's to be able to fight for peace, so you can rest in peace when you die and you don't live with the regret of just giving up. Every human being wants to be happy, strong, and healthy, financially free, caring for their family, and just look fit as fuck. I don't give a fuck if you're a multi-billionaire. If you got tits as a man and you can't see your penis, it's degrading. I'm not gonna make fun of females, because females don't have massive egos. They already know. You don't have to convince a female about that. Men lie all the fucking time. It's almost appalling. I have a lot of respect for men who open up and just admit they're insecure, because I was massively insecure. I couldn't look myself in the mirror. I hated every single aspect of me. I thought I was disgusting. It was so painful that I just couldn't live. Just the thought of it was running through my mind every single day. Every single day those thoughts were running through my fucking head. And now I look at everybody on this planet, every fucking body on this planet. They are me when I was 14, 15 years old. I'm not buying it. I can't, because when I slip from my process right now, when I don't do the things right now to tap into this happy, strong, and healthy state by just creating a fucking force of nature every single morning, by just literally creating more energy and just going to that pain zone, struggling for a bit, fighting for peace of mind, just being a fucking animal. I slip. I remember when I got a herniated disc at the age of 27-ish, and I had to let go. I had to let go of all my training for like a year. I basically became skinny fat. I went back to that state, a negative state, that turmoil. I thought I was gonna die early. I'm 30 years old. I wanna fucking die. No, I'm not. Now I just feel great. That's a problem. I don't buy it. And if you're like me, you just believe like this is the true path, but you need help, you're on the right path. Your self-awareness is high. So the blueprint is very simple. Get a workout program where you can build yourself up physically and make yourself stronger. Get the right macros in that builds you as a person. Once you master food and human movement, those are the cornerstones that builds a stronger person. There's sleep also, but sleep to me is movement, is just the movement of the lungs, and which is a lack of movement. I don't want to talk about that. That's a whole different discussion. But yeah, just some motivation for you guys, because I know a lot of guys are stuck out there and they're just wondering why they just feel like there's a lot of turmoil within you guys. It's because your habits are out of line, out of whack. When you have the right habits that align with the person you admire to be, you're going to be present in the moment. When you deviate from that path, regardless of which day it is of the week. I just remember as a corporate, I almost made my first fucking 10 grand a month. The first thing I was thinking about is how I'm going to make 20 grand so I can spend 19 grand. I just realized I'm a materialistic bitch. Because now I'm just thinking about material things that it's not enough. I was never like that. So that's when I actually went back into smoking pot again, because I just thought I was lost. And now I'm so grateful to have almost nothing. And I'm just happy to have less material things. Don't get me wrong, I would love a giant boat. I would love a nice Ferrari F35 GTS. But I don't think that's what's going to create internal peace for me, because internal peace requires internal work, which requires a change in physiology by requiring a tapping into the mind, the body, and the soul. The consciousness is calling you to tell you to act in that certain way. When you listen to that voice in your head, the good voice, when you follow that to a T, you're going to be happy, strong, and healthy.